When my daughter came home crying because she failed, I realized the only option I had left was the nuclear one. My kid Amber walked through the door at 3:45 p.m., mascara running down her face, holding her chemistry test like it was a death certificate. Big fat F circled in red marker at the top. I grabbed the paper and started reading through her answers. Every single one was correct. I'm talking textbook perfect. I literally pulled up her chemistry book and checked each answer myself while she sat at the kitchen table eating those stale Cheez-Its we keep forgetting to throw out. Mrs. Kowalski said I cheated, Amber said between bites. Said there's no way I could have gone from a C student to getting everything right without cheating. She didn't even check my goddamn work. Here's the thing about Mrs. Kowalski. She'd been teaching at Roosevelt High for like 20 years and basically thought she was God. My kid had been busting her ass every night for 3 weeks straight, watching Khan Academy videos until 1 a.m., doing practice problems at the dinner table. I watched her struggle through oxidation numbers and balancing equations while I pretended to understand what the hell she was talking about. So I did what any reasonable parent would do. I emailed Mrs. Kowalski that night asking for a meeting. Got back this bitchy response the next morning. Your daughter's sudden improvement is statistically improbable. The grade stands. Perhaps focus on teaching her academic integrity instead of making excuses. I literally said out loud to my empty kitchen, "Oh, you want to play statistics? Let's play statistics." I spent the next 2 days in full detective mode, called up 5 other parents I knew from the PTA. Turns out Mrs. Kowalski had failed 12 students that semester for suspected cheating. All of them were kids who'd shown improvement. All of them had their tests marked wrong even when answers were correct. One kid, Nathan, had his entire test on cell respiration marked wrong. His mom was a literal biology professor at the community college. She'd checked his answers. They were perfect. But here's where it gets absolutely insane. I found out Mrs. Kowalski's son was running a private tutoring business, charging $80 an hour. And somehow, every single kid who paid for his tutoring never got accused of cheating. Wild coincidence, right? I made a Google Doc, listed every kid, every failed test, compared it with the tutoring client list I got from another parent whose kid actually used the service. The pattern was so obvious, it was basically screaming at me. Then I did something that probably wasn't entirely legal, but whatever. I posted it in every single Roosevelt High parent Facebook group, all 7 of them, at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday. By Thursday morning, my phone had 47 missed calls. The doc had been viewed 1,200 times. Amber texted me from school saying the principal was walking Mrs. Kowalski out of the building with a box of her stuff. Apparently, 3 news stations had already called the district office. One parent had sent the doc to the superintendent with the subject line, "Extortion scheme or just regular incompetence." Friday afternoon, I got called into Principal Hendricks' office. He looked exhausted. "Mrs. Morrison, what you did was, well, it's complicated. What I did was show people a clear pattern of corruption. You want complicated? Try explaining to my kid why her teacher failed her perfect test because she wanted to force us into paying for her son's bullshit tutoring." Hendricks just stared at me for a second, then said, "Between you and me, I've been trying to build a case against Kowalski for 2 years. You just did in 2 days what HR couldn't do in 24 months. She's done. Permanently." Every kid got their grades corrected. Amber's F turned into an A. Nathan got his 97% he actually earned. The tutoring business got investigated by the state's education board for ethics violations. The absolute best part? 2 weeks later, I ran into Mrs. Kowalski at Target. She was in the cleaning supplies aisle looking miserable. She saw me, her face went red, and she literally just said, "I hope you're proud of yourself." I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Your son's tutoring business had a 2.3-star rating on Google reviews." One review said, "He spent 45 minutes explaining why his mom is the best teacher ever instead of teaching me chemistry. Now I understand why you needed to create customers by force." She just walked away pushing her cart full of discount wine. Amber got a 96% on her next chemistry test. No accusations, no drama, just straight up earned that shit.